I'm ready. I'm ready. Hey guys, welcome to our team call tonight. You're in for another exciting edition of misFITspiration Sunday Night Live. Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to finish up. We're going to wrap up our social media series tonight, and Lorelai is actually going to talk about touch up on the stuff that she was going to talk to us about last week, but her and her family had a fun night planned, so obviously we always say family first, so she enjoyed that. We are going to ask something of you guys. We talked about this with our leaders, and now we're going to present it to all of you guys. There's a lot of times, you know, we put time and effort into these team calls, and it's really distracting, and I'm just going to say it, a little disrespectful, and I'm guilty of it myself, when we present this information to you guys and we see this. We're talking to the computer and we see people looking around, or we see them texting, or we see them Facebooking behind that. You know, we can see when the color changes like this. You can see the color change on my face. I'm obviously changed my screen. So we're going to ask that you guys meet us halfway, that during this time on the calls that we really get your full attention. And this kind of, we had a guest speaker on a few weeks ago, and we came away from that, and she didn't say anything. She really didn't, but we came away from that, and we were embarrassed because I'm not going to say nobody. I hate talking in extremes and absolutes, but people weren't paying attention the way that they should, considering that she put so much time and effort into the presentation. She created slides, she presented pictures, she was, you know, very, very thorough, and people were texting, and people were talking to other people in the room. And so we're just going to ask that you commit this time to us, and we're probably going to say something similar at the beginning of a lot of the calls. So we'll just kind of, you know, it won't be this long and drawn out. It'll just be kind of like, okay, you know, shut it down, and then we're just going to ask for your guys' time. We understand that other things come up, and if you can join us, you know, we really appreciate that. But if you are joining us, we really as my phone rings. If you know, we ask that you be present. And that's pretty much, so meet us halfway, you know, so we're doing our part and trying to bring you guys like good content that's going to help you guys grow your businesses and move forward. And so we just ask that you guys be here with us.
Yep. So last week, Jenny talked to you guys about your avatar and your social media. We've been doing this whole social media training where we've kind of been helping you guys direct your message when you're talking to people, find your own unique style and all that. So what I wanted to talk to you today about was kind of telling your story. So when we are sharing our journey with people on social media, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating trying to figure out how exactly we're going to put that into words to share with them. And for any of you that have not been on, I know we have a few new coaches. Your customer avatar is we set up a graphic of someone that we want to speak to, and it has a list of character traits. We can get you the training video for that, but it's just to put it in your mind who your target person is that you would like to work with, because this is all about building our tribe around us of people that we feel wonderful being in their presence and working with them. So that's what I'm going to hear. I'm going to talk about your customer avatar a few times through this. So I'm going to actually share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. Don't feel like you have to write any of this down. I will share the PowerPoint in the team page. So just listen to what we're saying, and then I'll have the slides up for you. Are we good? Everyone sees it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is about creating your story. It's one of the things that I feel good at, is creating a story. I'm in love with words. I really like to write, and I like to use words. I feel like they have so much power. So I understand that not everybody has that same love of words, and so it can feel sometimes like a little bit of a barrier trying to put everything together. So this is what I have for you guys, which is an outline for how you can create your story to get it all put together to speak to your customer avatar. And so to start, every story needs a hero. And I wrote on here, the hero isn't someone who's heroic from the start. A hero is someone who has heroic tendencies and overcomes a massive hurdle to eventually become heroic. It doesn't always mean huge. Sometimes, like for me, that one of the things I share is my sugar allergy. I mean, it's not huge. I'm not saving someone's life or anything, but for me, it's a major part of my journey, and it was a lot that I had to overcome. And I also really like helping people with that. So it's a story I like to share. And through this, as I say story, keep in mind, guys, that when we're talking about sharing on social media to inspire people, we are talking truth. So I say story, but I'm using that in reference to your truths that are happening with you. So laying the foundation of your story, we first want to think of your avatar. And when you have your coach avatar, your client avatar, whoever it is you're working with, I like to have that, the image that I created out in front of me so I can speak to that person and their lists of different needs, wants, desires, things like that. So when you start this story, it's what do you need to change to, what change do you need to create in their mindset? So think of your customer avatar. What do they need? What will add value? Your life experience is your expertise. So for me, going back to my sugar allergy, my expertise is overcoming that because that's what I've done. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I've had help of doctors. I've done research. That is my field of expertise. Do we want to bring them peace of mind? Do we want to help them break the mold, give freedom, money? Maybe it's a financial hurdle that you want to help your customer avatar overcome. Their health, finding love. That is a great one if any of you guys follow Chelsea Pearson. She talked a lot about how she had to become the right woman for the right guy. And that's how she was able to meet the man of her dreams, was by being the woman first. And so that's really inspiring hers. Finding peace, self-love. Self-love is huge for me. That's what I like to share. So once you know like what you've experienced, what your expertise is that your customer avatar needs, then you go to number 2, which is what emotional transition do you want your audience to experience when they hear your story? You want to start at one point and skip to another, and your entire story is just going to be the transition, that journey that they get between those 2 words. So by kind of deciding this up front, it will help mold your story as you go into it. Your hero must start and end with these emotions because you want to pull your audience in so that they can feel that with the story. Okay, building your story. So who is your hero? Most likely it's going to be you as you're sharing your journey. It could be a challenge, or if you're sharing a before and after story, pictures, I highly encourage you to reach out to the person that shared their pictures and kind of get an idea of, ask them some of these questions that could help you really tell their story well, and it'll probably honor them in such a great way. If it's a coach shout out, maybe it's one of your coaches that has really pushed through a barrier. They've really helped someone in a huge way. Ask them these questions. Family members, any of that. Blair Dreesen, her daughter's just been going through a jaw reconstruction surgery, and so they've been sharing that whole story online. And so it can be many different things. Most of the time for us, it's going to be us.
And the great example about Blair is that what she shared, she's not writing like, here's my daughter in the hospital, or my daughter just came home by a challenge pack. It has nothing to do with health and fitness. It has everything to do with her becoming relatable and sharing a story. And, maybe there's another mom out there who maybe their kid's hasn't been in the hospital for the same thing, but can have compassion as a mother for what she's going through. So her sharing that journey or that story and opening up is people are connecting to her because of it, and they're caring about her. Now they care about her daughter and her well-being, and they might have added her on their prayer list and things like that. So it's allowing people into our world, as mundane or as big as it might be.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry for the question.
No, it's really good. And that's a huge thing is, when we're sharing these stories from our lives, it gives people the idea that we are real people. We don't want to just be sales and challenge packs and all these things. That's not going to help people the way I feel like we have the power to help people. So this storytelling is really going to help you with that. Next is, where is your hero before the start of the story, and what point of connection with your avatar? Describe a day or moment in vivid detail. I love the vivid detail. I feel like you can put a few little words in there that really pull your customer, I don't want to say customer, because we're not actually talking about selling to them at this point. That's not what the point of the story is. It's to be a real person and share value. So, I shared one about my postpartum depression with my daughter. And there's this moment I remember sitting in the rocking chair, rocking her, and I was singing her a lullaby while crying because I was just so heartbroken that this connection was gone between us, that, you know, that we didn't have it to begin with. And I remember this moment, and when I tell my story with that, they're just like, you can just say like rocking and holding this sweet child and crying through it. And your reader automatically feels like you have let them into this extremely vulnerable point in your life. You know, they feel connected and they feel thankful. I've had a lot of people thank me for sharing these stories, and they're hard to share, but you know, they're thankful for that vulnerability. So that vivid detail, and this story does not have to be huge, guys, but, you know, 2 sentences that have that bit of vivid detail makes a big difference for them. So who is the nemesis? Who is the issue in here? It could be a person, an idea, a personal barrier, any of that. For me, in that story, it was the postpartum depression was the nemesis. And what kind of fear does this trigger? The fear that I would never be a good mom. You know, I'm bringing them in to see all that. There's so many different examples on that. Barriers, self-limiting thoughts, injury, debt. Debt is a big one, I think, that we can all share with other people. And that vulnerability is big because, you know, Facebook is all flashy and these are all like the things that I have or that I can do. I don't want to say all, but, you know, some people get caught up in showing the highlight reel I've seen people talk about. So by being able to share our vulnerabilities, it changes how we interact with people. So the next step would be talking about the rock bottom. Describe how bad it got to get the decision to make the change. Describe the reaction. Bring your audience there. For me, that rock bottom was rocking my daughter and realizing, like, this is what my mom went through. And I don't want my daughter to look at me like I've looked at my mom. And so my rock bottom was a very emotional moment that I was able to bring my audience into. I don't mean to be talking about my mom the whole time. What is this? What does your hero desperately want to achieve? And this is where you have to really visualize your avatar, visualize the people that you want to work with, and describe what she craves and the goals that she set for herself. You know, it's kind of like when you watch these movies, a Disney movie, there's Nemo and all the different things that he's going through. You're going to take your audience through that in a very short version of it. And these are just the little crucial steps along the way. What are the biggest fears the hero has and the obstacles that stand in her way? What if I fail? People will laugh. I'm not good enough. Money, time, childcare. We all have all these excuses why we cannot do the things that we so desperately want to do. And your audience, your avatar has those same excuses. So seeing you say that and be bluntly honest, like, I've used my kids as an excuse not to exercise. But then I flip it and I say, like, but they're my reason to exercise. My excuse is actually my driving purpose. So showing them that sometimes will make them say, oh my gosh, she's right. I'm using this as an excuse and I just need to flip my perspective a little bit and show someone else that they can do it. The next step would be talking about creating the plan. Very simple, but like, what does the hero decide to do? I just decided to take my life in my own hands and fight this head on instead of sitting on the couch watching Netflix all day. You know, it's simple as that. How do I feel? Nervous, excited, decisive, doubtful, unsure. I mean, whatever those honest emotions are, you share that. And then explain the path with honesty. I love this because it's not always like, I decided to get healthy and I did. You know, like, it doesn't happen that way. And so to share that, yeah, there were hiccups. There were days that I didn't do my workouts, or there were days that I fell back into that bit of depression. You know, telling them, like, yes, I had hurdles, but now my why was so strong. Now that I knew what I was doing, that I was able to get past all of those hurdles. So it gives a realistic hope instead of just like, I decided, so I did. Not all stories will have that step because, like I said, you are talking about honesty. And sometimes we make a decision and we do it, and that's okay. And then the victory. How did it look? How did it feel? How did other people view it? How did it help? Who did it inspire? Was there a neighbor that decided to start making the change too? Or a child that came up to you and said, like, you made me decide to want to be healthy too, you know? Something like that. if that's in your story, it's important to share. Life after the victory, how they wake up, how they feel, like what is different. Do they look back, or you, if you're talking about you, do you look back and think like, I can't believe I let myself get stuck there for so long, knowing that I had it in me to succeed? So take the pressure off of yourself. I wanted to put a few little notes in here. I feel like I'm really good at creating a story, and I don't want anyone to think like, well, that's not just my thing, so I can't do that. I think we all have the potential to share our stories. We just have to take the pressure off of ourselves to make it epic.
and I think that also it's something that develops over time.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah, as you share your story, guys, it's so funny. When I write a story that like makes me shake, you know, like you're so like nervous and anxious, and like hitting submit is scary and you have to like walk away afterwards. I will actually go back and read it like 10 to 20 times. Like someone will like write a comment on it, and then I go back and I read it as if they wrote it. And it sounds crazy, but I think I start to like form notes in my head, like, oh, this is what I would do different next time and things like that, by reading it from a different perspective of each person. I also wanted to say this is not for every post. I think every post we do should have our target market, like our avatars in mind, but these are for those stories where you really want to share a vulnerability. And I like to do these, I don't know, I feel like the sweet spot for me is like every week, but it's mostly as it hits me. Don't you think the same, Jenny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we need to make a point of having like sharing a nugget or something, you know. Sometimes they'll just come to you. You'll just like have a moment and you'll be like, wow, that would really be good to share. And you'll kind of formulate it right there in the moment. Other times, if you realize you haven't shared done some good storytelling in the last few days, then you're going to want to think, what could I share of myself? So that's where you're going to want to draw to your avatar, because a lot of us, our avatars are going to be very similar to us. So you can look at one part of your avatar and be like, okay, well, I haven't talked about this in a while, or I haven't talked about this at all. You know, something I don't talk about a lot. I mean, because it's one of those things I feel like my network knows, but they don't, is that, you know, I was a single mom until I married my husband. And so I can decide, oh, I haven't talked about something in a long time, and then just decide that by looking at my avatar and seeing one characteristic of her, or writing down characteristics of yourself. That's another good exercise that you guys can do, is write down like a timeline of your life, like little different life events, little things that made you who you are, things like that. So I just shared the other day, I did like a little synopsis, like a little like rundown, and like I had never talked about the fact that I was kicked out of college, you know, and like I wrote that on there, and like I had people messaging me and being like, it's like I'm reading my own story, and it's like, wow, okay, cool. And that's awesome that they're relating to me. So yeah, you do have to make a point of it, but like she said, it's not for every post.
Right. I feel like the more nervous we get to share something, the more it needs to be out there. But when you're sharing this post, if you're nervous to share it, tell them that. My very first story that I shared, you know, about it was my before and after weight loss journey. I said, you know what, guys, this is really hard for me to share. It's really hard to put this out there, and I'm a little fearful, so be kind. And, you know, the outpouring of love on that was so huge. I think because it set up my reader to not be in a judgment mode, but more in a like, this isn't easy for her, so I'm going to give her the benefit of listening right now. My personal preference is to like wrap it up with a bow at the end and speak directly to my avatar. Like, you have so much value to bring the world if you just believe in yourself. Like, I like to end it with something that speaks directly to them. That's your preference. I also like an action step at the end, like drop a heart below. I love that one because it's so easy for your audience to do. They literally have to do nothing.
And then you get the people who are like, I don't know how to make a heart.
Which is totally
There's always one. There's always one.
But it's
like, it doesn't matter. You're still commenting. Like, thank you.
And Jenny's going to tell you why that's going to help in a little bit here. All those little comments that people are dropping, even if they're saying, I don't know how to make a heart. But by giving them a super easy action step to comment on your post, or to interact with it, that is amazing. The easier you can make it. So I love that. Drop a heart below. Share if you relate. If you want your story to be shared across social media, you have to tell your reader that you want them to share it. The majority of the time, your reader does not know that that's what you want. Or if you want, if you support this, or comment below if you've experienced this, or comment below if you like, or if you relate. Sometimes they'll be like, can I get an amen? One that I love that Jamie did the other day, she said, I need some kind of help making a hashtag for this. And I was like, ooh, that's good, because I hadn't thought of that as an action step. So then everyone's like dropping their own hashtags below for it. I'm like, oh, that was really good. So the action step, I feel like, and Jenny I don't know if you agree, I feel like with the stories are not always needed an action step for them. Sometimes it's bold and impactful, and it will generate people interacting anyway, but that's my personal preference. Most every post I do has some sort of action step at the bottom.
Yes. And sorry, you can go ahead. I'm just going to add on. I'm writing down what I wanted to add to what you said.
I'm done with my notes.
Okay. Then this is something I wanted to say, kind of more directed to the newer coaches. Sorry. My nose is turning red. This is something that was told to us when and I think it's in the training somewhere, I'm not sure. Lorelai's talking about sharing your story. And don't feel like you have to write a novel, especially for your new coaches. You can get your point across, and you can share your little nuggets in shorter bursts. And that's actually going to be good for you newer coaches, because one of the things, and this sounds kind of mean, but it was told to us and it really stuck with me, is that you have to earn the right from your audience to create a long post. Like you have to be engaging. You have to make them care about you, because if you just haul off and you go write a post that's like 5 or 6 paragraphs long, they're going to be like, what is this novel? Like, I'm not going to read this. So when you're a new coach, and I don't know what we would consider a new coach, how many months or whatever, but, kind of short and sweet, but descriptive, everything Lorelai said, but, kind of compact. And so that they can read it and they're skimming, and they really have to start, I just started writing some novel posts, really long posts, and I realized that my network was ready for them. They'll read them. Just don't feel like the pressure to create a really, really long post all the time, every time. You can, obviously, when you're sharing really important things or things like that, but don't feel this pressure, because it's true. You'll put your heart and soul into this really long post, and then they might not read it all the way through. That's just one of those random things of the business. Do you remember us being taught that, Lorelai?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You had to earn the right to do a really long post.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I also think it's really good, even as a new coach, to craft the story and maybe not share it yet, because it starts getting your passion and your why and your heart really connected to the types of posts you're going to share, until you're either ready to share that one or you're ready to revisit it. And because, as we grow as coaches, sometimes it changes a little bit. But I feel like a super strong story that is ours, like our own journey, makes a huge difference why we're talking to people, why we're connecting with them.
Absolutely. All the best coaches are amazing storytellers, and they have a way of drawing you in and making you care about their lives through the little posts, through the big posts, through the long posts. She used the example of Chelsea Pearson earlier, and I just adore Chelsea. I think that she's an amazing woman. I think she's an amazing coach. I think she's just an amazing spirit. And she did a Periscope, which is, different than typing out a post, but she was sharing her story. And she had just a bunch of us on the other side of our phones watching her, just sobbing with her while she's in the parking lot of the Coach store, deciding if she, I'm sorry, it wasn't Coach, Louis Vuitton store, deciding if she was worthy of making this big purchase for herself. And, I'm sitting there watching my phone, and because she's a great storyteller, and, her emotion came through. Granted, it is easier when you're talking one-on-one, but I could have read that post from her and I would have felt the same way. Mm-hmm. So that's another good point, is to study other leaders, study leaders within our team, study leaders just within Beachbody, and read how they tell a story. They'll hit, I guarantee you're going to see all the points that Lorelai just mentioned. So
one other thing I forgot to put in there. Oh, are you?
Yeah, no, I was just asking if you had anything else.
I love to make the first sentence of my storytelling post drama.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So,
Like a magazine headline.
yeah, like say in my story I made like I decided where I was going to go and I fell backwards. The first 2 words would be like, I failed. Like, I totally failed. And so like people who are scrolling, I think they're more likely to want to read like, what is this that's happening? You know, like Michelle Norgard, she started her.
I was just going to say Michelle, yeah.
It was what, I cheated?
No, it was we're breaking up.
Oh, that's what it was. It was we're breaking up.
But then people read the whole post and they responded accordingly to the post, but it got them to read it.
She wasn't actually breaking up with her husband, but that's what it kind of looked like in the beginning. So I'm sure everybody that's like scrolling is like, what is happening here? And so
I forget what she was even breaking up with, but I don't know.
I don't remember. I would have to go back. I just remember like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah. But you always want your, like, another thing that we've always been taught is you want that opening line. Like she said, have it be dramatic or whatever, or at least have it be like captivating. Like, you know, like think of like the way things are worded on the cover of a magazine. You know, it's like quick, brief to draw your attention. It's like 50 of the best recipes you've ever had in your entire life. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm in, you know. Or like, you know, Laura said, like more dramatic, you know, like epic fail or something like just something that kind of relates to the story, but you're kind of taking a different spin on it, you know, like I like a lot of times I'll be like, can you believe this happened? And then they're like, what happened? You know, and then you tell your story and they read it because they're so intrigued and they like the drama, but there's no drama. And then they've already read it. So then they're going to comment. So
yeah.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
I think that's it. I mean, I know I just dumped like a lot of information at your feet, guys, and not all posts need them. But if you are on, like, if you feel like you have this huge share that you want to put out there, I'm going to put this in the file section of our team page so that you guys can look at the PDF file to kind of help walk you through creating your story when you need it. So, and
yeah. So that was supposed to be part of last week's, all the good stuff, you know, all the talking to your avatar and everything like that. So now we're going to I'm going to ask you guys to flip gears from your, you know, emotional, awesome storytelling side. I'm going to talk to you guys more about like the technical side of Facebook and social media and posts and things like that. Some of you have seen some of my trainings on this and you already know it, but it's never a bad thing to revisit. So the first thing to know about Facebook is affinity. And affinity is basically how Facebook itself as an algorithm judges you. The way that Facebook judges your personal page is different than how it judges your business page, but I'm not talking about business pages today. We can do a whole nother series on that because there's some corrections that Jenny needs to make on her former previous training because Jenny now works with an amazing man and he's taught her everything, all her mistakes. But so yeah, Facebook affinity on your personal page. Basically what happens is Facebook says you put a post out there and if people interact with it and they are liking it and they are commenting on it and they're sharing it, all of a sudden Facebook's like, oh, she's like the it girl. Like, cool, awesome. So the next time you post something, Facebook says, people want to hear what she has to say. So let's share her post bigger. Let's let more people see what she has to say. So it'll show it to a lot more people. So you will often hear us talk about having an engagement post before you're going to post about the business. So what you need to do is figure out what works for your network. We all have our little tips and tricks. For Lorelai, it is her dog Murphy. She knows that she is going to get 50 plus likes if she posts anything about her dog, okay? Like, like not even joking. For me, my kids work, they work a lot. My food works because I make it work for me. I'll tell people, I'll post a picture of my food and I'll say 50 likes and you can have the recipe. So it makes them have to click that like button before I'll share the recipe with them. I'm getting pretty famous for that one. I'm waiting for my network to just be like, your food's not that good, but it works. So having engaged, so then what I can do is if you're building up your engagement throughout the day, then in the evening I can be like, hey, I have a challenge group coming up, you know, is anybody interested in learning more about it? But more creative than that. But at that time, Facebook has realized, or I've tricked them into realizing, that I am a very important person. My friends care what I have to say. For those of you new coaches, this might be like brand new information for you, and I'm trying not to go too over your head, but you probably already know this from friends saying like, oh, I didn't see that post or whatever. Everything you post does not go to all of your friends. You probably already know that because you'll be talking to a friend and you'll be like, yeah, didn't you see my kid's birthday or whatever? And they'll be like, no, I didn't see it. Let me go look at the pictures or whatever. So Facebook determines how many of your friends and which friends are going to see it. So when you have higher affinity, it shows it to more of your friends and the ones that have been relating to you. So that is a whole different topic on how we target who's going to see our posts, and we're not going to go there today either because that would just take way too long. But so engaging posts are super, super important because it gets your affinity high. And then when you do make that post about your storytelling, you're sharing your journey, things like that, or maybe it is a post about a sneak peek, joining our team or joining a challenge group, it's being shown to more people. So I wanted to give you guys a few examples of how to raise your affinity and certain posts that you can do. I'm like a constant Googler, you guys. Like I'm Googleizing all the time. And so some of the things that I Googleize is fill in the blank. Post a fill in the blank. Like Laura used the example of the hashtag, like, oh, I need a hashtag for this post or for this picture. You know, that's a really great one too. So do a fill in the blank. Like something simple like my favorite ice cream flavor is, and then they're going to be like mint chocolate chip, like chocolate fudge brownie, Ben & Jerry's fish food, like whatever. You're going to have all these people commenting. And because people love to give their opinion, you guys. Like they want to give you their opinion, like so much. They're just, it's kind of innateness. That it's like it's that little bit of ego, you know, inside of us. This or that post, one of my most popular this or that posts I did a few weeks ago, it was like Italian or Mexican. Well, everyone loves one or the other or both. So people are like, Mexican, people like Italian, people are like, both. Why would you make me choose? Like carbs and carbs, you know, like I love them. So those are great ideas. And like, I don't always come up with those on my own. I'll literally Google this or that. And there's websites that people have nothing better to do than post this or that questions, okay? Like shampoo or conditioner, like really? Duh. Conditioner. But stupid things like that. Cats or dogs, you know, like so stupid. But you can get ideas from them. Or there's ones that you can actually use that would work. So like I said Mexican or Italian because I'm kind of known for cooking. So it made sense from my network to have something like that. An opinion poll, anything, you know, like, do you prefer cold cereal or hot cereal, like oatmeal, you know, like whatever, things like that. Or just saying like, or have you ever question, like have you ever had whatever, like if living in the South, here's a great one for any of you guys who live in the South, grits, salty or sweet, like that is a debate starter right there. I didn't even know what I was getting into. I commented on a thread and it went crazy. And I was like, I need to use this. I seriously need to use this. Apparently it's a huge, huge thing, whether you like your grits savory or sweet. And I did not know that. So be careful if you post that one. I've got a plan for next week, but yeah. Oh, I'm scared. Apparently cream of wheat too. Did you know you can make savory cream of wheat? Mind blown. Hello. I didn't know that. You put maple syrup in cream of wheat. But you do those things, then people, they get really defensive. Okay. I did a post like 6 months ago about, did you guys know there's a thing like a banana and mayo sandwich? That's a thing. It's a real thing. And I'm posting it and I'm just like, oh, everybody's be like, so this is so gross. I'm not kidding. I think more, Lacey, you probably remember that post. I think more people commented that they had eaten it and enjoy it, and now we're going to go have one. Oh, yeah, and Lacey just went on chili and cinnamon rolls. Like, she heard that people eat chili with cinnamon rolls on the side. And she's like, I've heard of like bread or cornbread or the cinnamon rolls because the sweet and the savory. See? But now I knew somebody on here was going to do it. So Heather has had the banana and mayo. So more people commented on it, and it's so funny because it's like a friendly debate. No one's gonna like get their feelings hurt over that. So opinions, people love to share their opinions, or like, have you ever, like, fill in the blank, this or that. Funny memes are good. You know, you can even ask for a meme. Like, Lorelai's really good at that too, because like her and I like enjoy a really good pun, and she's kind of built that into her brand. So she'll be like, hit me with your, what's your Friday pun day? Why can't I think of what it's called?
Oh, I do Sunday Pun Day.
Sunday Pun Day. I'm like, why doesn't it rhyme with Friday? Friday Pun Day? No. So Sunday Pun Day. And some Sundays she'll post and she'll be like, hit me with your best, you know, puns or your best memes or whatever. And sometimes there's like a category, like a fitness or like a whatever, you know, animal meme, whatever. And then people, they'll want to go find them. And the good thing about her doing something like that is she loves puns. She loves memes. So even if she doesn't get 100 comments, the ones that do comment are like her people, you know, like they fit into like that realm. So then she can kind of work with that. Anyways.
One thing I do with that, while you have a breath, I do this thing. I say bonus points for blah, blah, blah. And people, I like there's no points. This is not a point system, but like, they're like, oh, bonus points. Bonus points.
Yeah, like bonus points for posting extra. You know, like, yeah, it's crazy. But Lorelai kind of mentioned about action steps. Your network isn't going to do anything unless you tell them to do it. So if you just post something out there and it's just that's all there is, they might like it. They might comment on it if it speaks to them. But if you say, has this ever happened to you? At the end or at the beginning, then you're asking them, has it ever happened to you? And you're giving them something to talk about or to relate to or to answer. Action steps can include things like that, like tell me I'm not the only one. You know, if it's a parenting thing, parents love that. Like, tell me I'm not the only one. And they'll be like, no, it's happened to me. You know, like, what would you have done? Well, actually, that's not a good one. That's against what I was going to say. So just call it action, drop the heart. You know, when I give shout outs to my girls, I say, can you please help me celebrate them by clicking that like button? You know, so like, even if they're not a Beachbody coach, I don't expect them to like want to celebrate my girls necessarily because they don't really know what we're doing or why I'm celebrating them. But if I ask them to click the like button, they're like robots. They're going to click it. And it's recorded. I just sent our clients are robots. That's okay. But yeah, it's human nature. You know, if you say like, will you click that like button to celebrate these girls? They're going to click that like button. So that's why call to actions are so important. What you don't want to do with a call to action, which is what I just corrected myself from, is you don't want to ask them to write a novel. It needs to be quick. It needs to be something they can type in real fast. It needs to be, you know, you can't be like, describe to me your perfect day, you know, or tell me about your perfect vacation. Instead, it needs to be something like if you had a day off, would you rather, and you give them options, you give them A, B, or C. Would you rather go to the park, go to the beach, or lay in bed as long as you could? And then they're going to put A, B, or C, or 1, 2, or 3. And that's it. That's all they have to do is type and they don't have to think. Like, instead of being like, where's your dream vacation? Or describe it, you give them an option. Like, do you want to go to somewhere tropical? Would you want to go to the mountains? Or would you want to go to Europe? Like, whatever. And they're going to pick their best option out of that. Just keep it simple. And that's going to get your engagement up so that your next post or 2 posts from them, whatever, depending how long you build up your affinity, is going to be the post that you're going to hit them with where you're sharing your story or talking about Beachbody. So what else do I have here? Another thing on the technical side is learn the times of day that your network is interactive with you. When you're on your business page, it'll actually do that work for you. But if not, then you're just going to kind of have to pay attention. Now, some of us, we don't have, like some of you guys have day jobs. And so you can only post at the times that you're free, like maybe sitting in the car right before you walk in to work or at your lunch break or whatever. But the good thing about that is that you will also train your network when to respond to you. And Lorelai is a great example of that. She always jokes that she's a grandma because like if she posts anything after 9 p.m., her network like does not like respond to it. Like they're just like it doesn't between Facebook and her network, just knowing that she's not normally posting at that time, they don't really interact, but she can post at 8 o'clock and it's like, awesome. So, know your network. Like I'll wake up some mornings, I'll have this huge inspiration and I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to post this. And I know I have to wait because my network is here in Central Time Zone, a little bit on East Coast, and then also a lot on Pacific Time. So I'm working with a 2 to 3 hour window at any given time. So it makes things interesting. If I want to do a morning motivation post, I'm posting at 8 a.m. here. It's only 6 a.m. in California, and I guarantee you my California friends are not up at 6 a.m., okay? They just do not live that kind of life. So I have to be cognizant of that and really think about, is this a post that I just want to get out there, or is this a post that I really want a lot of people to see? So thinking of those things, learning those things. And I think Heather just mentioned Buffer. We can talk about Buffer and we can talk about things like that a different time if you guys want to, but I don't use those, but I'm also privileged enough to not have to use them. So they are good things. It's Buffer and what's the other one? Hootsuite. You can schedule your posts from ahead of time so that they post at the time that you want them to on your social media. It's a great tool for anybody who's very busy, so you can do that. But the reason I don't, there's a couple reasons I don't recommend them, or I don't use them. I shouldn't say I don't recommend them. It shows up that you posted it from a third party. It shows up that you posted it from Hootsuite or Buffer. And then the other thing is that you can't interact with them. Like you don't want to post and ghost is what we call it. Like you don't want to post and then what if somebody asks you a question about something and then like you're not there to answer. So it's like use at your own risk, or maybe you could post it like an hour before your lunch break, and then at your lunch break then you can go ahead and you can like respond to them or something like that. But that's a huge thing, is being able to interact with your network. So that's another reason I don't use it. So it's up to you. People are very busy, and I understand if they have to use it. That's great. I just don't use it, and those are my reasons. I tried it at once upon a time, and I didn't like it. And then the other thing is people get lost a lot of times about what to post. We have so many resources, you guys. Like, don't get confused or like overwhelmed with like, oh, I have to post, I haven't posted my 3 times today or whatever. We have so many resources. I created one that was like 50 post ideas. And there's another one that's for the new coaches that says like, it's like a 30-day what to post in your social media for 30 days. And like, it basically will tell you like, day 1, talk about this. Day 2, talk about this. And that gives you at least 1 post a day that you don't have to worry about. So you're like, I can't think of what they are at the top of my head, but like one is like, I think like you're open for business. Another one's like a picture of your workout shoes, and like you can talk about your workout shoes or whatever, and just be like, my shoes are Nikes. Like, what kind of shoes do you wear? Just something simple like that, and just little things so that you don't have to think about it for your first 30 days. So, yeah, I think that was.
Did you say you're going to post those in the group?
Or I already have. They already are there. I mean, we can bump them, but they should already be there. My 50 post ideas, I already uploaded. It's on the Misfit Republic website, and I believe the new coach one. I didn't put it up there, but I think somebody did. That one's in the social media group, but I'll make sure that they both get onto or bumped at least on misFITspiration. Sweet. I think that's it. And then the only other thing that I wanted to recap. No, I guess we're good.
We're good?
I think so.
We have a few other housekeeping things that we wanted to talk to you guys about. The calendar, Jenny and I sat down and squished our brains together and created a calendar for what you guys can expect from us through the end of the year. So we put in there our challenge group dates, when those will start. We have the healing week, those all plugged in. I have national wake up calls on there and team calls on there and a few other important dates. So that's in the files section of the misFITspiration team page there. We are going to be much better about putting those out regularly so that you guys understand when they're coming out. While we share with you guys when our challenge groups are starting and you can see our rotation with it, that does not mean we want to host your challenge groups for you. Absolutely, new coaches, we would love to invite you in and let you see how we run challenge groups. But the intent is that you guys are able to do those on your own because they're such a beautiful way to help people. They're really absolutely incredible. So you're always welcome into our groups if you need them, but we also know that you guys are rock stars and will rock hosting your groups too.
Yeah, did you want to talk a little bit about how to read the calendar?
Oh, is it hard to read? I don't know.
No, like how to read it, like if it says the challenge group is starting or the sneak peek is starting,
okay,
that's not when they should,
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we have it all plotted out so you guys can see that before our challenge groups start is because we usually do like a healing week before the actual challenge group starts, and in that healing week, they have time to get their packages sent to them and things like that. But you don't want to start selling challenge packs or start telling people about challenge packs like day one. You want to build up for it for that week to 2 weeks ahead of time. We always put on there, like, it's like the Tuesday before the actual work of the group starts is their order deadline to be able to start with all of us. But we need to have them, we need to be dropping those nuggets and helping them see that this is an opportunity for them a good week before that healing week prep week starts.
Absolutely. And same thing with sneak peeks. You know, if we have a sneak peek that's starting on a Monday, that doesn't mean that you hustle that Monday and rush to get people in there. It means you guys have access to that calendar so you guys can see on that calendar, and then you guys can, you know, based on your network and how much time it might take you guys to get people or whatever, that's when you're going to want to go ahead and start inviting people based on how long it takes you to do that work. So, another thing that you guys will see on the calendar that we are super excited about is we are going to do a diamond party. What do we call it? Diamond celebration?
I don't know. I don't have my internet pulled up so I can focus on you.
So good. We're going to do diamond celebration. So basically, for this year only, because next year, I mean, our teams are just going to be blown up. But this year only, Lorelai and I, because next year I'll just have to be personally sponsored coaches because we're going to blow up, right? But we would like to celebrate and honor anybody who reaches diamond level in our downlines between now and December 30th, which is actually a Wednesday. So you would go diamond on the 31st, which is kind of a perfect way to start the new year. So we are going to have a celebration in January for all of our diamonds. We're going to send you guys care packages, and you're not allowed to open them until our celebration. So it'll just be a Zoom like this, and it'll just be us celebrating, and we're just going to hang out, and everybody gets to open their packages and their presents and their gifts together, and just kind of like our way of like thanking you guys for like a super awesome year and for you guys pushing and achieving your goals and things like that. So that is going to be something that we are going to offer to every single person within our team, within misFITspiration. And I'm sure that if you're not our PS coaches, I'm sure your coach will help celebrate you as well, but this is kind of like our gift to our team, just to kind of have you guys here with us, and it's our opportunity to kind of celebrate you guys and have that special time with you guys to celebrate.
Love it. So exciting. You'll also see on the calendar, I mean, that's like the big news. We were really excited. Now I feel like this little note, but
Did I go too soon? I'm so sorry. I hate when that happens.
No. On Wednesday, Jenny and I are going to host a live What is Coaching webinar, which will be in the evening. And this is your opportunity to invite people to the coaching opportunity. I'm going to say that twice in one sentence. There you go. I love words, using them multiple times. So this is your opportunity to drop nuggets on your Facebook page, to talk to people about the coaching opportunity. Good grief. So that's kind of when we have a sneak peek coming up. I use that, not a sneak peek. What is coaching called? I use that as an opportunity to sprinkle little bits on my Facebook page about like
opportunity.
Shush.
You said it again.
Good Lord. I need another word. I need a thesaurus. Okay. I will be sprinkling my Facebook page with all things coaching, what it means for me, and look at stuff. Even if you're a new coach, this is a great time for you to invite them to do the training with you, to be side by side with you as you learn. And so all of us.
Is it a great time for them, or is it a great opportunity for them?
Push. My ears are red. I must be blushing. Look at, they're hot.
Oh, it is a fantastic opportunity, though. And we'll take it.
So we will do that live, so that most people are really great at attending the live stuff. We can send them videos, and some people do that really well for the coaching opportunity. Yes. Anyway, so that's going to be Wednesday night. Invite and post about it and things like that up until then. I think that's it.
I'm excited. I know this is what I dropped the ball. I was like, I want to say, and then I was like, no, I forgot. I got a lot of messages after last week about branding and things like that, and what your guys' stuff should look like, or what you guys want it to look like, or not knowing what it's supposed to look like. So, Lorelai, I swear you had already posted that color thing, right?
The Kay Putnam test.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can post that in the group again, or I can bump it.
Maybe put it in the file section. So I just wanted to reiterate that, just anything that you can do that makes you stand out as you, like making sure that that you're being an individual, and that you're not, I know I said this a lot last week, but then I never uploaded the video. So that you're not recreating things that you just visually like, that you're not, just mimicking other people that you see their stuff that you like. It's all about you finding what works for you and it being genuine to you. Like, I use the example of Lorelai and I both found our inspiration from Andrea, because we like the way that she was posting, but my stuff doesn't look anything like Lorelai's, and Lorelai's doesn't look anything like mine, and neither of ours looks like Andrea's. And that's exactly what I said last week too. So just make sure that you're finding your individuality within your posts, and like that you're not just copying the people that you admire and things like that, because you're doing yourself a disservice by not creating your own brand, and you're also doing a disservice to the person that you're mimicking. So it's just find the colors and the schemes and the things that work for you, the fonts and all that stuff, and just really make it your own, because that's what's going to draw your network in. I swear to you guys, I know, like, it's so easy to be like, oh, but this looks so good and I want to use that. But if somebody else is already doing it, then it's not yours. It's not your networking and your marketing. So, but if anybody wants to do a call on branding, like, I'm more than willing, and I'm sure Lorelai would hop on one too, and we can kind of talk it out, like more like one-on-one, or like in a group like this where we're just talking it out, like, and we can help you guys figure out like what your branding is, because Lorelai has like the most amazing visual eye that I've ever seen. Oh. And apparently I am good at branding too. So
guys, Pinterest for branding is like, I cannot allow myself to do that unless I have lots of time, because I love it so much. But you can find really, really great color schemes and concepts. And a lot of this, I know I've said it a lot today, it's not opportunity, it's your avatar. Your avatar, like say your ideal coach you want to work with is highly structured and they like to get things done. They like everything to be organized. You're not going to want to go with something that is like pastels and free flowing. You know what I mean? You'll want a specific kind of branding that will fit into your customer avatar. So I feel like that is the piecework that has to be done first, is figuring out who it is that you would love, who you would thrive in working with. Both a customer and a coach, the types of coaches you would want to help. So that will help. But Pinterest is so great for finding branding inspiration. So good.
Yeah, I agree.
No, we do.
That's all I got.
All right.